now is 6:03. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. So, public comment tonight. This is a work session, so there actually is not public comment, but we are going to have a board presentation, and then we are going to have a public comment on a local law and on the capital budget. At this time, though, the first item will be the treasurer's report. Charlene Kegelbetz, our treasurer, will speak about that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our treasurer's report, July 25th, we have unaudited, unofficial year-end results for May 31st. We believe that the lion's share of the bills for the prior fiscal year have been paid, so we're comfortable getting into a comfortable range. Our revenues, once again, well exceeded the budget. Our adopted budget provided for $33.1 million in revenue. We received $37.3 million in revenues. Major drivers, again, of course, building department revenues, which were nearly $2 million more than budgeted. Mortgage tax came in at almost 1.9. We had budgeted $975,000, so that's $1 million over budget. And our New York class investment pool is still trending way above our original expectations. We had budgeted $25,000 for interest income, and we had just under $600,000 received. Expenditures, we hit
25 budgeted and 600 received?
Yes. Well, don't forget, we were in a very strange interest rate market last year, and then shortly after we adopted the budget, the Fed started raising rates, and we had transferred over to this investment pool that the village used to participate in years ago, but their interest rates were so dismal that we had stopped, and we're investing in the local banks. And this municipal pool is very safe. And basically all of our reserves, capital reserves, and unrestricted fund balance right now is in this municipal investment pool, New York class.
Nice.
Expenditures, again, $33.1 million was budgeted, and expensed and encumbered as of today was $32.9 million. We still have a shortfall in legal fees. We expect to have a budget modification for some minor housekeeping cleanup entries, but we are still short $83,000 in our legal bills. So our projected operating within your operating surplus for this past fiscal year is $4.4 million. The auditors should be coming in sometime in August. Expect to start the field work, and once the auditors complete and issue draft reports, we'll have a recommendation to the board, and then the board will have to make some decisions on the proper use of that surplus.
And when do we expect that?
Probably by Thanksgiving. I think by Thanksgiving we should have final financials. Trustee?
If I may, the Budget and Finance Committee was heavily involved in the preparation of that year's budget, and obviously $3 of the $4 million is because of unexpected revenues. We were all skittish, as I remember at the time, as to what effect we were going to have on building permit revenue as well as the mortgage tax revenue. And we got pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
But we did continue to budget conservatively for this current fiscal year. So even if there's a drop in that revenue, it should not have a budgetary impact for us, especially with the advice and steady guidance from the Budget and Finance Committee.
The number appears out of control large, like we didn't know what we were doing, but there was very good reasons for it, and conditions were so good nobody would have put money on that, to coin a budget term.
So other items, we already discussed the year-end procedure for audit, the the auditor should be on
Yep.
on site soon. And tax levy collections for the current fiscal year. Our tax levy was just under 26 million, 25.997, and we have collected 23.754, so 91% was collected as of last week.
That's very good. I
So-
appreciate the taxpayers of the village of Southampton paying their taxes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Treasurer. At this point in time, I'm going to actually call upon Chief Hurto to give an update on traffic in the village and other topics that she would like to speak on. So, Chief Hurto, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. As we know, we have a severe traffic problem here in Southampton Village. I think every municipality pretty much is affected by the daily comings and goings of the trade parade. We do our very best to enforce the laws that are on the books over on Somerset, Bishops, Hill Street. I was asked here tonight to talk about Lee Avenue and some issues on that roadway. I'm getting feedback from my officers that are down there. First and foremost, I want to tell everybody that above everything else, we have a volume problem. The volume problem leads to traffic problems, and the traffic problems can lead to various safety issues on the roadway. So I've come up with some possible solutions to help with Lee Avenue. And just keep in mind that these are just ideas. These are not set in stone by any way, shape, or form. But I also do want to caution the board that whatever restrictions that you all put in place moving forward, every restriction that the Board of Trustees enacts is going to be a consequence on another road, a negative consequence on another road. And I think that's what we're seeing here. The goal was always to keep traffic on Hill Street and County Road 39. Hill Street's turned into a parking lot. And as a result, what's happening is vehicles are getting onto Hill Street, realizing that we're not moving, and they're bypassing Hill Street by going up First Neck, going down either Great Plains or Ox Pasture Road, and using that as a bypass to get to the westernmost point of the village to make that left and get out of here. Now, I was able to coordinate with Chief Kiernan from the town to get the light at St. Andrews put back on flash to help a little bit. I think it's helping a little bit, but there's other things that we can do to kind of remedy Lee Avenue, because you should be able to back out of your driveway between 5 o'clock and 6:30 at night. So some of the solutions that I'm thinking about is installing a stop sign at the corner of Ox Pasture and Lee Avenue. My officers were there for a couple of days, and people come down Ox Pasture Road and whip that right-hand turn. They were pulling people over for failing to signal, no seatbelt, distracted driving, and just being reckless. So they were issuing tickets there. It's hard to issue speeding tickets on Lee Avenue when they're not moving. I do not recommend doing any type of turn restriction on that road, because what's going to happen is if you restrict left turns, what's going to happen is during the pilot program that we did last year, they're just going to go down to Hill Street, make a U-turn, traffic's going to stop, it's going to cause accidents. I don't recommend it. I recommend the stop sign, and what I also recommend is the village board consider doing a no commercial traffic with a gross vehicle weight rating over 10,000 pounds on not only on Lee Avenue, but also on Captain's Neck, because what's happening too is when Ox Pasture gets backed up, now they're taking that right turn onto Captain's Neck and everything's becoming gridlocked. This is what we're seeing. So I think if we do that weight restriction on Captain's Neck and Lee Avenue, I have created a commercial vehicle enforcement unit, and in the capital budget, I believe, is a request for weights and scales. My commercial unit has done over 11 DOT inspections this year. They're getting trained. In the middle of it, there was this course that they could take. They're ready to go and, weigh the trucks when they see that they're overweight. And the goal is to keep the trucks off of those roads and keep them restricted to the truck route, the designated truck route that's in the village.
Chief, could you explain what 10,000 pounds means for layman?
Most trucks have a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds. And what happens is when they're overweight, If you have, for example, sometimes there's tractor trailers that drive down your roads. Lee Avenue and Captain's Neck Lane is too narrow. It's too narrow it's unsafe. Vehicles can't pass each other without having to pull over. So the weight of the vehicle is too much for the road. It's going to, if it's overweight, it's going to be tilting to one side, the tires are gonna be overinflated, and the load that they're carrying could roll over. And we want to avoid that, especially on those roads that are narrower. So these officers are trained to conduct the scales and the weights on these vehicles, and what they can do is they get fined based on what percentage they're overweight. And those fines, they actually have to do math on the side of the road and put it on the ticket, and then it goes to court. It's under the transportation law, and it's also under the vehicle and traffic law. So the goal is to get that done and to keep the bigger trucks off those roads and to kind of spread the volume out, because we really can't not control the volume of cars that are coming out here, unfortunately. But if we can spread it out and restrict a little bit, it might help ease some of your issues on Lee Avenue that in turn will end up on Captain's Neck when it gets really backed up.
So you'd have to stop them before they get anywhere near Hill Street so that the weighing and the whole process of arresting them doesn't become a issue on Hill Street.
Well, you can direct them up to 5 miles away from wherever. So what happens is at these DOT inspections, the officer will see a truck, they'll stop them on Hill Street and say, follow me to, we've been doing them over on Nugent Street, the old Astoria Bank.
And what happens if the people say, well, I'm delivering a refrigerator to somebody's house?
So the local, if there, it would be, the exception would be local deliveries, and it's on the officer to ask for the paperwork. If he says, I'm delivering, a refrigerator to Hetty Creek Lane.
But this isn't gonna have any effect on the landscaping trucks.
Some of the landscaping trucks.
Yes, it could. If
Yes,
they're
it
not,
could.
if they're not working on that street, yes, it could.
They,
Yeah.
they would be over 10K?
Yeah, if they're towing a trailer with landscaping equipment and a dump truck, it's gonna be over 10,000 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because those are really, I don't see it as delivery vehicles, I see it as the landscaping
Yeah.
vehicles.
No, they would be pulled over and weighed if they had the probable cause to stop them
And
with
it's
the,
not just the ones that are doing work on Ox pasture, they're coming from all over the village
That-
and using those roads.
and
Right.
using those roads to get out, that's correct, yes. So I also think that, and I think we all know this because it's been said over and over again, that the traffic problem in Southampton Village is a direct result of the signals on 39. And until the county and state come up with something to alleviate the congestion on County Road 39, whether it's adding another lane, elevating the roadway, or sinking the lights, our village, along with other municipalities on the South Fork, are going to continue to be plagued with this traffic issue. So if we could take these little steps, it may help with easing some of the traffic concerns here.
So, I'm gonna ask the attorney a question. So can we, I'm gonna ask the board too. I think the stop sign at the end of Ox pasture at Lee Avenue makes a lot of sense because I've definitely seen cars fly around that corner. And, I would like to know if we can go ahead and, ask you to change the code there, or if any further work needs to be done before we do that.
If you'd like me to draft a proposed code amendment?
Is the board in agreement with that?
Yes, we don't have to have a public hearing for that, for a stop sign, or do we?
No, I think we would.
You would need to because it's in your code. Because all the placed stop signs in the village are listed in the code, it requires a code amendment, and the code amendment requires a public hearing.
But you could have that prepared, could we notice that for the next meeting, or we have to
Yeah.
notice it at the next meeting and then have it at the following meeting?
I could give you a resolution to notice the public hearing for the next meeting at the end of this meeting.
That would be helpful.
And you could adopt it
That-
tonight.
that would be
with the
helpful.
public hearing on.
That would
for-
be helpful with the board's
Oh, so
concurrence.
you could adopt
Roy?
it tonight and then
Yeah.
a public meeting coming afterwards?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would.
So that would be one thing we can do. And what about on the commercial traffic and trying to restrict the weight of vehicles on Lee Avenue and Captain's Neck Lane?
The same would apply.
Do-
It's a code amendment
Does any
required.
further study have to be done on that, or is that, again, just a recommendation from the chief to us?
I would always recommend a traffic study be considered before adopting any restrictions or changes to the traffic pattern in the village. Is it required? No.
I would say we do it.
May I ask a question?
I know
May I
that
have a
road
question?
Robin, go
My
ahead.
question, please, I'm sorry.
Trustee
Thank you,
Brown,
Deputy-
sorry.
ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Chief, if you can help me with this, I think there's a set weight, is it not 10,000? That's,
Over 10,000 pounds.
so over 10, so 10,000 is what is considered safe, right?
Yes.
So then, and that should be honored at this time. So I think if we if we have signage and anything going over that, that should be enforced by using the scales that will be coming
Correct.
to you.
We have signs posted, for example, over in, all the signs need to be changed to, they have to state something specific in order for us to,
Well, that's the
write
Department
the
of Public
ticket.
Works.
Yeah, and I'll coordinate with Steve on that.
Okay.
I know the exact verbiage, but it's already, there's already signs up on Somerset, on
Yeah.
Bishops, you know, you see the truck with the red.
Right.
It has to be way better than that. It has to exactly
It
say.
has to have the exact weight on it.
It has to say GVWR,
10,000.
yeah. So I have all the correct verbiage, so if we're gonna do it, we gotta make sure everything's right across the board and even change the signs over in.
Okay.
Well, we can have them rewrite
Okay.
those signs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the practical effect of that would be to ban them from, you said, Captain's Neck and Lee?
You would restrict them from
Restrict them.
Captain's Neck and Lee.
Lee.
They're already technically supposed to be restricted, except for local delivery
I
over
see.
on Moses.
So you don't
Somerset.
expect a spillover effect to make anything worse on
No.
Hill?
I think it would, I think it's gonna, we have a designated truck route in the village, so if trucks are directed to Halsey and First Neck, for example, they have to make the right, which is easier for them. Then they have to go to Windmill Lane, make the left, and to go up to North Sea Road, because that's the designated truck route.
see.
That's the goal, to keep the bigger trucks
Right.
off the smaller streets,
Right.
and traffic can move a little bit
Got it.
quicker.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there are signs for the truck route.
Yep.
But, so, yeah. Well, maybe, does the board want to look into this further, or should we ask the attorney to try and draft legislation as to weight restrictions on those streets as well?
I'm ready we've observed enough. We've had traffic studies in this area before, and I think if the best person to actually, better than those that make the study, is the chief, because her men are there.
Yeah.
And they know what goes on, just like that with that stop sign that we had spoken
Yes.
about. You know, things like that. And they know better than the guys that we pay for those traffic studies, what goes on. And if you listen to the residents, it's the trucks that are really more of a problem than the vehicles.
I
See,
understand.
the goal is really to get
No, I
people
understand.
to stay on Hill Street and to stay on the highway. And when they're cutting in and out of all the side streets, it's slowing down actually what's going on in Hill Street. So if they stay where they're supposed to stay, I think that with the blink, especially now with the
Trustees Auntie?
blinking light,
Mhm.
I think it would,
I'm just thinking this
Mhm.
through, yeah.
Oh, I feel quite comfortable with it because it's pretty much in place, not in place, but it's pretty much the norm of the 10,000 pounds, and we're not changing from that. We're just doing what's proper to notify,
Yep.
signage, and then
Training.
training, and then,
The only thing I can think of,
Enforcement.
though, is maybe we want someone to come in and look at the streets to determine what other streets should have this weight restriction also applied to it, so that we can do this
One time.
one time, rather than doing it piecemeal.
Okay.
Because I feel that there are other streets in the village that also should have the weight restriction for trucks also. And if we're gonna change signage that's already been posted inappropriately or not signed properly,
Right.
I would like to do this maybe once, and again, not do it haphazardly.
Agreed.
But I defer to the rest of the board on that. Roy?
I
Trustee
agree with-
Zananti?
I agree with that approach.
All right, well, maybe we could ask, our traffic consultants, VHB, yeah, to look into all of the streets that should have the restrictions for weight,
Okay.
including Lee and Captain's, as well as others that have been signed, but maybe are not, I don't even know if they're all in the code properly, quite honestly.
Well, I was gonna say to you next is.
Yeah, I
can-
think they're
can have
not all in the
somebody-
code properly.
I'll have someone go around and correspond what's out on the street to what's in the code and provide that list so
And then
the
I
traffic
think,
study
I
engineers
think
can have
we
it.
should address all of the streets where we want to have this restriction, so that you can properly, and your force can properly, charge these drivers that are are using these roads inappropriately, with the weights and measures that we now have on order with the
Yep.
capital budget.
Thank you.
So that we can find these drivers for using, residential streets inappropriately.
Okay.
So is it fair to say what we're talking about is really enforcing what's on the books now?
Well, I don't think in every instance it's actually on the books, and certainly on Lee Avenue and Captain's Neck, it is not on the
It's not
books
on
right
the
now.
books.
But I want to make sure that
But
we
the
do this
suggestion-
properly with the proper signage, so that we do have the ability to write tickets properly, and then have the Justice Court properly adjudicate these these tickets, and so that we can fine these drivers for inappropriately using residential streets for commercial traffic. So that, I think, again, I would like to ask the board that then we look into that, but I would like to also ask the village attorney to draft the resolution this evening for a notice of public hearing for the stop sign on Ox Pasture at Lee Avenue, so that we can enact that at the next village board meeting after a public hearing.
But not the truck weight limits.
Not, I'd like to have, again, our traffic engineer review all of the streets where we should do that, and we can do that at the next meeting.
I'm ready when you are for a walk-on resolution.
Do you want to do a walk-on resolution right now?
Yes?
Yes? Okay, I'll make the motion for a walk-on resolution, but I'm going to hear it from the village attorney.
Is there a motion for a walk-on? There's a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, and a proposed resolution, resolve the Board of Trustees, Board of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorizes the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, August 10th, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting regarding local law XX 2023, the proposal to amend Chapter 110, Section 37, more specifically known as Schedule F, Stop Intersections. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Chief, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I do
Could
not.
I just add a bit, because
Yeah.
certainly we could spend all night talking. I know, based on the feedback I get from the residents, and I'm sure my fellow board members can concur, I hear about this from 2 or 3 people every day. Traffic is the #1 concern, and Chief, you're between a rock and a hard place, because it really is volume.
It is volume. I will tell you that since January 1, we've issued close to 2,500 tickets in the village. 41% of those tickets are being issued on Hill Street, Somerset, Corrigan, Bishops, Lee, Moses, Halsey Neck, and Ox Pasture. The other 59% is the rest of the village.
I mean, this board went through a long period of debate about Somerset and Bishops and Corrigan, and back and forth, and closing Somerset and opening Somerset, and we came up with the no right turns. And you and I had some conversation. It has certainly improved the situation on those streets, although I would also say that if you just, I mean, your officers could get writer's cramp if they just park there. But the problem is, as you and I have discussed, when you arrest somebody, you've got to actually watch them do it. You can't do it before they make the right turn.
Right.
And now you're on Hill Street with your lights flashing, and you're slowing down Hill Street. So
Right.
you've sort of got a enforcement problem, even though you're writing
Well,
a lot of tickets.
Yeah, when we're issuing the tickets, I mean, a couple of days in a row when I have my crew unit out at night, when they're working 3 to 11s, I had 4 cops out on Hill Street. Each of them had 2 to 3 cars pulled over, and there's still a ton of cars coming off of
Yeah.
Bishops.
So where are we on ticket issuance this year versus last year? Do you know that?
We're definitely up, probably, last year at this time was just shy of 2,100.
And is it not possible to have those intersections equipped with cameras that just take a picture of the license plate after the person
the
makes the
ca-
right turn?
The camera needs a triggering event. You have to set the parameters, and right now, there's still 7 days a week.
Mhm.
So you need a triggering event to take a picture. So that would mean ripping up the road, putting something under there, so when the car makes the right-hand turn,
It triggers.
It's gonna trigger the license plate, and then it's a great idea, but it's not as easy as we all think, because that was my first thing, was to,
Mhm.
Right.
let's get some cameras put up and try it out maybe at one of the busier roads, which,
Because then you don't have to stop them. You just take their picture and they get a
Right.
thing in the mail saying you should have done that.
Right.
Yeah.
Since this is a work session, I just want to let those from the community know that at the next meeting, which is August 10th?
Yes.
That it will be a public hearing for these purposes. So if you want to come at that time, you will be able to each get up and speak and tell us anything you want to tell us. No, I'm sorry, no, it'll be at 6 o'clock again. And so the public hearing will be at 6 o'clock, and you can say at that time anything you want about this, because it'll be a specific public hearing on this topic. But unfortunately tonight, since it's a work session, we don't have a public session. But anyway, I hope, unfortunately, there's no public.
We were told to come today. Should we just come back?
You have to come back, unfortunately.
As to what the chief was saying, it's a different point for a different part of town, but same thing.
Yeah, no, well, unfortunately, since this is a work session, it's not open for public comment tonight. It's only at, no, you, absolutely, and we wanted people to hear what the chief was gonna say about traffic in the village, and so that's what people could come and be present for this evening. But public hearing and session for anybody to say anything on any topic will be August 10th. So we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you bringing your son here tonight. We hope he's learning.
He can't send petitions. He's gonna tell you about it.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we hope you're learning about local government. Thank you for coming. All right, thank you very much. All right, well, with that, I think we'll move on to the local law, which actually is a public hearing for the local law X of 2023. Who wants to do this?
Did you have a
Trustee Brown, I think, was going to pass.
We're going to pass and talk at the next.
So, oh yes, a motion to open the public hearing on local law XX of 2023, the proposal to amend Southampton Village Code, section 110-43.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I?
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. This local law, and also with thanks to the police department and the chief for preparing the background on this. This local law codifies what is already existing in the village for 15-minute parking spaces. So this is a revision to the stopping, standing, and parking restrictions in Chapter 110 of Village Code to enumerate specific parking spaces in the village that are regulated to 15-minute parking only. It doesn't change any signs that are already up. It doesn't create any new spaces. It merely codifies what was already existing for enforcement purposes and for the public to be advised of what's permissible.
Yeah, this is just for the public's edification. This is to codify the spaces in the village that are for 15-minute parking, usually outside of businesses, where, again, it would be a matter of quick in and out, picking up dry cleaning, dropping off dry cleaning, or what have you. That's really a convenience to village residents. And while we have these signs posting 15-minute parking, they are not in the village code. So if someone were to violate that and stay more than 15 minutes, the police actually cannot write a ticket because it's not actually called for in the code. So by doing this, and now putting it in the village code, the police actually will be able to enforce the 15-minute parking and will be able to issue tickets for people that stay more than 15 minutes. So at this time, I will call anyone up that would like to talk about the 15-minute parking spots in the village. Anybody would like to be heard on this?
Well, if UPS goes on strike, they're gonna have a little trouble.
Cornelia?
They ratified it.
All right.
I like them, actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like them.
A lot of people like that.
Okay, so then I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Next public hearing is on the proposed 2023-2024 capital budget. We discussed this at the last meeting, but this will be the public hearing portion of the capital budget, and I'm going to have Julie just go through, again, a couple of highlights of this budget, just as a refresher from what we looked at last week. I think maybe we'll look at the last two slides. Julie, what do you think? So the largest portion of the capital budget is the fire department, but as I pointed out last week, we have a very good arrangement with the fire district that Trustee Stevenson and I worked out. It's a 60-40 split, with the village paying 60% of the capital budget for the fire department and the fire district contributing 40% of the capital budget for the fire department. It's a total of $1 million a year. So again, with that split, the village pays $600,000 into it. The fire district pays $400,000 into it. This is a 3-year contract, which is longer than I think the village has had in a very long time. But this is a very good deal for, again, being able to fund capital sources for the fire department, such as a new fire truck, which we will be purchasing over the next few years here. And at the last meeting, we had Chief Escobar and Michael Kampf of the committee that, again, chose the Pierce fire truck that we will be purchasing, come in and talk a little bit about it. But you can see this budget as it outlines for this year and then the following years where that ends up. And as you can see, the capital reserve balance does always stay in the green, which is a good thing, even though it fluctuates over those years and shows some deficits. But again, over time, it shows that we will remain in the green. And so it shows the village share, the district share, and the total. Okay, next slide, please. And then this is the village-wide capital funding source. This just shows the annual funding allocation. We have various pots of capital allocations. We have trustee special projects. We have the operating budget allocation, and we have a $4 million capital allocation that was from a surplus, which is always good to have a surplus, that we have distributed then over several years, as you can see, with $800,000 a year being the result. And so this, again, also keeps us, after the next several years, in the green by just over $13,000, but still that's in the green. And we were able to provide for all of the capital financing needs that the village has for its operations and what we need to do for capital financing. So at this time, I would call on anyone in the public that would like to talk about any of the capital budget. Anyone from the trustees like to speak further about the capital budget?
Mayor, if I could just add some comment about
Yes.
the fire budget and the fire district.
Of course.
And to say that very pleased that we were able to negotiate that agreement with the district, which increased their share, which it had been previously at 35% to 40%, which certainly is helpful. And also to point out that we are buying 2 big pieces of equipment to replace pieces of equipment that are over 23 years old, I believe. Charlene, you provided us with some information from a source regarding the issues that can begin to occur with firefighting vehicles that are of that age. Certainly, the government has also changed their standards with emissions and the engines that these vehicles can use. So we absolutely have to replace these vehicles, and they are not cheap. The one that we're buying this year is $1.75 million. And then we've got to get another one in 3 years. That's about 1.3. So these are big, expensive vehicles. And that's why our reserve is hovering and has even gone down a bit. But my hope is that once we purchase these vehicles and we get back in terms of having a newer fleet of firefighting equipment, that we will begin to build up our reserve so that we have some safety and we don't have to be teetering on the edge of do we have enough money or not somewhere down the road. So,
And luckily, because of the emissions upgrades, there's such a backlog in the production of these larger fire truck vehicles that we were able to spread that 1.75 million over 3 years, so that kind of smooths the expenses.
Right.
But it's going to take 3 years. It's a 36-month build, according to the fire chief.
Yeah, the truck is being made in Wisconsin.
So we pay a third down, third next year, and then when the truck is delivered, the final third. So it helps us to smooth that over 3 years, but that's how long it takes from order to
Delivery.
delivery.
I did ask for a little bit of under-the-table stuff. I made the chief guarantee that my grandson will be the first one to ride the new vehicle.
Okay, well, hearing no comments from the public, oh, sorry, Judge Wilson.
Just to make one quick, while Judge Wilson approaches, there is one amendment. We will be adopting the budget as amended, which is not reflected in these numbers, which would be the addition of a police motorcycle, and that will be in the 3-year capital plan. That'll be funded for next year in the amount of $24,000. So that's the only change that we have since the budget was presented.
And that police motorcycle is to help catch speeders, right, Chief Hurto? Okay. All
Traffic
right,
control.
Judge Wilson.
So are we talking about the entire budget or just this?
This is just the capital
only
budget.
capital.
This is not operations, just capital. So bigger purchases, yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
So, any other comments from the public? Okay, so at this point then, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing on the capital budget.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. There's one communication to the board from Bimla Pico. Should we read that?
Yes,
or-
it was an email. I'll just summarize, pointing out some traffic safety measures throughout the village. She talks a little bit about South Main Street, and the fact that there's speeding happening there. Also talks about dangerous crossing conditions at the intersection of Job's Lane and Main Street, and asked if there could be some review of that area for pedestrian crossing. And also signals for Main Street and Hampton Road. They're constantly, people are running red lights, and it's a little bit dangerous. It's tricky to
Yeah.
cross those intersections.
So I would just add, though, for again, the public's edification, we do have on order a new walk and don't walk signs for the intersection of Job's Lane and Main Street, South Main Street, Meeting House Lane.
Yes, that was paid for with that downtown revitalization.
Correct. But there is a long lead time on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we are trying to get an antique pole so it looks appropriate for, one of the
Yes.
older sections of the village. So it is on order and it will arrive,
That is happening.
but it will not be here this summer. But tell Mrs. Pico to please be patient that
will.
it is coming, but we will have walk and don't walk signs at that intersection, which I think we all agree is problematic. But they are on order, and we will have those in place. So we will correct that problem. Thank you. All right, should we go to the next part of the meeting? Charlene, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We begin with mayoral appointments. Number one, Mayor Manger respectfully requests the motion to approve the following committee and department designations for a term ending June 30th, 2024. Committee liaisons, Budget and Finance Committee, trustees Gina Aresta and Len Zananti, with trustee Zananti being added. Sewer District Task Force, Mayor William Manger and Trustee Leonard Zananti. Trustee Zananti replaces Roy Stevenson on that task force. All in favor? Do we have a motion?
I'll make
Motion
the
by the
motion.
mayor.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Mayoral appointment number 2, resolve that Mayor Manger appoints and requests a motion for the Board of Trustees to approve the following member to the respective Committee of Business Revitalization, and that new member would be Eldon Scott. Mayor's appointment.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Just discussion. So Eldon has been a fantastic member in the past of the Planning Commission, and he has done this type of work, meaning commercial revitalization work, actually in London and New York City and elsewhere. And I think his familiarity with the village and the Planning Commission will be a great asset to the Business Revitalization Committee, which is chaired by Trustee Stevenson. And he is very much looking forward to joining that committee and looks forward Trustee Stevenson to being a part of your committee and having some meetings to discuss that.
Mayor, I spoke with Eldon the other day. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do. The business district really does need some revitalization. We would like to explore ways to see if we can reduce the number of vacancies in the off-season. We'd like to get increased private participation in terms of ways that certain citizens have indicated they might be willing to help beautify our village. And also work more closely with the Chamber of Commerce in terms of developing a stronger coming together of all the businesses in the village to work to our mutual benefit. So I'm looking forward to working with Eldon on all that.
Oh,
And actually, Eldon just walked in. Actually, Eldon, since you're here, would you like to just introduce yourself? Would you mind coming to the podium and just introducing yourself?
I missed whatever you just said.
Well,
Just
we
like
are
talking about
just
you.
introducing you as a mayoral appointment to the Business Revitalization Committee.
And I
Great.
just said
Well,
you're going to
my-
solve all of
Could
our
you just give a
problems.
little of your background?
Sure, my name is Eldon Scott, and I'm excited to do this. My background is in New York City. I used to be a planner in the Koch administration, and I've done retail and residential development since then, but really working with small businesses and small entities. So it's been something I've done my whole career, and I'm really excited to see if I can help.
And you served on the Planning Commission here for a number of years.
I did.
So we appreciate your
Yeah,
time on that as
thank
well.
you.
So thank
Yeah.
you very much and welcome aboard as long as everyone approves.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Eldon.
Thank you.
So on the
All in-
appointment, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, now you're
Unanimous.
real.
Now you're right. Number 3, resolve Mayor Manger appoints and requests a motion from the board to approve, Board of Trustees to approve Sarah Ellen Simpson to be appointed to the position of village attorney pursuant to Village Code Section 3-3 at an annual salary of $155,000 with an effective date of appointment of August 8th, 2023. Mr. Mayor makes the
I'll make the
Make the motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 4, resolve the mayor requests and the Board of Trustees approves an extension for the term of appointment for Be Ready Fishbein, Hatter, and Donovan LLP as village attorney through August 7th, 2023.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Number 5, resolve mayor appoints and the Board of Trustees approves Be Ready Fishbein, Hatter, and Donovan LLP as special counsel effective August 8th, 2023 for a period of 30 days. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous. Suggested resolutions. Resolved that the claims for the warrant dated July 23rd, 2023 totaling $640,543.91. Warrant A5 General Fund, $3,840 Warrant H2 Capital Fund, and $4,725 Warrant A6 Payables Fund are hereby audited and approved. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 2, resolve the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton approves local law XX 2023, the proposal to amend the Southampton Village Code, Section 110-43. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 3, resolve the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton hereby adopts the preliminary 2023-24 capital budget as amended, as the adopted 2023-2024 capital budget. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Thursday, August 10th, 2023, at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding local law XX 2023, the proposal to amend Chapter 116 zoning, specifically Sections 116-9A3, 116-9A10A, and 116-9A11A. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 5, the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on August 10th, 2023 at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding Local Law XX 2023, the proposal to amend Chapters 58 Fire Prevention Board and Chapter 80 Park and Beach Regulations, specifically Sections 58-3A 40, 58-3 and 80-13. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's unanimous. Resolution number 6, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the proposal submitted by AECom for the task of work associated with the Lake Agawam Algae Skimmer
That's
Project.
misspelled there.
Yeah, I know, it's algae, should be algae. Algae Skimmer Project, work to be done, including surveys, design, and permitting. The total cost is $172,778 to be paid from the Water Quality Capital Reserve or reimbursed by grant funding sources. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 7, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the proposal submitted by LKMA LK McLean Associates, P.C. regarding engineering and construction costs for drainage improvements at the Southampton Village Police Headquarters. This proposal has a cost of $6,800 to be funded by A3120.44 Police Contractual Services. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 8, resolved that the Board of Trustees accepts the resignation of Police Officer Edward Reed effective August 1st, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 9, the Board of Trustees approves a rate increase for their part-time village prosecutor, Richard Fernan Esquire, to $205 per hour effective July 14th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 10, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the rate increase for court reporters to $350 per session effective July 26, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
We're not gonna find any, I'm just saying. So, everyone else is raising them to 385, so we don't know if that would take us time, but we're covering on that.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 11, resolved that the Board of Trustees approved the annual Southampton Fest, had approved the Southampton annual Southampton Fest to be held on Friday, October 6th, 2023 through Sunday, October 8th, 2023, which date is amended as resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the Southampton Fest to be held Friday, September 29th, 2023 through Sunday, October 1st, 2023. We're just moving it to the earlier weekend as requested by many of the businesses in the village.
Okay,
Yes.
you wants to make the motion?
I'll make the
Motion.
motion.
Trustee Brown made the motion. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 12, the Board of Trustees approves the save the date for the Southampton Artists Association to host its 22nd annual outdoor Art in the Park event in Agawam Park during the weekend of July 20th, 2024 through July 21st, 2024 from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to include setup on Friday, July 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. DPW and building maintenance will be notified to ensure the sprinkler system is deactivated during the event. I would imagine this is a ratifying resolution? Oh, no, it's 2024. Never mind.
2024,
Okay, they're ahead of the
for
game.
next year. I'll
Okay.
make the motion.
Motion, Mayor Manger, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Just a quick point, at the last meeting, we had a resolution to approve the ocean rescues lifeguarding in October at Concog. We tabled it so that Mr. Preston could look at the liability issues, but I don't see it on here. Mr. Preston, did you have a chance to check that out? And
I did, and I plan to update the board in executive session on this because it relates to a contractual matter. If you'd like me to advise you now, I can.
No, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Resolution number 13, the Board of Trustees approves the save the date for the Ellen Hermanson Foundation to host its 29th annual Ellen's Run on August 18, 2024, from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. to start and finish at Southampton Intermediate School. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. We have one supplemental. I would ask for a motion to add one supplemental appointment.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Supplemental resolution, mayoral appointment. Resolved that Mayor Manger appoints and requests a motion from the Board of Trustees to approve Michael Cause to be appointed to the position of Tree Trimmer 1 of the Highway Department at a salary of $66,144.15, effective Friday, July 28th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, please, Mr. Mayor. Is this an addition? Is this replacement for an existing employee? Why are we hiring this guy?
This is a vacant position.
Vacant
Okay.
position.
Mr. Claus, would you like to
Would you like
Mr.
to
Claus is here.
introduce yourself?
He's right here.
Excellent.
You're related to John Cause, correct?
Yes, that's
Because
my
I remember John Cause.
Yeah.
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 Good guy. Did you
I've
hire
been in
him
the
too?
business for 8 years, and I consider it an art. I love to do it, and I thank you for appointing me. in the position.
Excellent. Who have you worked with in the past? Just
Tim Blank.
yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
Now
Thank you for
that
being
we-
here.
Now that we are a Tree City USA, we want all of our trees to be really beautiful, so please take care of them.
your services for one of the
Thank you very much.
Okay, so, on the appointment, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Welcome aboard, Mr. Cause.
And that would conclude the resolutions.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to turn to the comments from board members. So we will start with Trustee Aresta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, first, welcome aboard, and Michael, and yes, he's quite aware, he made him quite aware, Trustee Stevenson, about us being a tree city, so he's going to get right on that. We have lots of work to do, a little bit behind with that work. I'd like to thank Charlene Cagle-Betts and Julie. It's some time since we've been trying to get this capital budget done, and I thank you for your hard work on that. And how many years has it been since, the last time the village even had a capital budget?
Well, we never had a capital budget. We started adopting it, we started incorporating it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And,
and never had one. They used to just.
yeah, and ideally, it should be, it should take the same time frame as the operating budget and be adopted together. It was delayed this year, so hopefully next year we'll be back to having the capital and operating budget
Yeah.
adopted at the same time, public hearing being on both of them at the same time.
And it was collaborative. All the department heads were involved, and,
Mhm.
and of course, Len Zanati, as chair of the Budget and Finance, was a big help. So I think that's it's good. I'm so glad that it's done.
Me too.
It seems like it's.
I'm sure
taking-
Julie is.
Yes, I'm sure. Oh, she left already. Yeah, I'm sure Julie is as well. So just a couple of things with DPW. Because of that storm that we had a few weeks ago, we found out, I spoke about this last time, but the focus right now is to take care of a lot of the drainage problems that we have throughout the village. So we're concentrating on that, and they've been working on a new sidewalk where Our Lady of the Hamptons goes into the crosswalk that goes into the train station. So they're almost finished with that new sidewalk there. And they've been working on maintenance. This is the time of year, of course, it's all about the lawn cutting and maintaining the flowers and the beds and all. and the beaches, so that's where most of the time is spent right now with DPW. And that's just about it, I think, so thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Trustee Aresta. Trustee Brown.
Good evening, everyone. First, let me thank our team at Cooper's Beach for just being vigilant as far as keeping things safe. I'd like to also thank our police department that are partnering with our team of lifeguards at the beach and Ocean Rescue, as well as we had a safety meeting with the chief heading it up with our various agencies, and we also want to thank the generosity of our fire department that is going to be donating to Cooper's a safety vehicle. So that is truly teamwork at its best, making sure that our residents are safe, and I just want to commend them and thank them so very much. I think the mayor was there, out there representing us all over the weekend and seeing our young people learning to be junior lifeguards. I had pictures sent to me, and we're just so proud of them. It appeared as though it was a really great turnout there. We had a lot of children there, and we're just so happy with the team there that is, teaching our young people to be safe, and we commend that team as well. And on a final note, I'm going to give a special shout out to my Seasoned Citizen Society, our senior committee. We're just having a great time. We want to let everyone know that the doors are open and welcome to join us. We had our first outing last week, and we went to hear some jazz and had a meeting and thinking about our future calendar events and things that we're going to do. So I want to thank you, my fellow trustees and mayor, and wish everyone a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much, Trustee Brown. Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, we named a new village attorney, and I'd like to welcome her. And I know, Mr. Mayor, that you were enthusiastic about hiring her because you wanted somebody to help you buttress and work on the code amendments that are going to be necessary to ensure that the master plan that you were so instrumental in drafting has the code enforcement to make it a reality. So congratulations on that. I look forward to working with her. At the same time, I want to recognize you, Andrew Preston, for the job you've done the last couple of years, and just thank you very much. Your counsel was appreciated in guiding this village through a difficult and contentious period, so thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. It's been a pleasure.
Here, here.
I think we all echo that.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. Trustee Zanati.
Yeah, some observations. I'm very proud and happy to have chaired the Budget and Finance Committee and working with Charlene and her staff, helping to create the assumptions that help create this operating budget surplus and fiscal accountability for the village taxpayers. And thank you, Mayor, for assigning me to be the trustee liaison to the Budget and Finance Committee, along with Trustee Aresta, as well as the Sewer Task Force, to continue the important work with our village colleagues in these two important areas. Furthermore, the village capital budget, which has been delayed since the spring, has now been adopted with a sound fiscal foundation, and I'm happy to see that. Also, the work of the Budget and Finance Committee is also now reflected in the hiring of a full-time village in-house counsel. With due respect to Mr. Preston, as Trustee Stevenson noted, this was a Budget and Finance Committee recommendation to help contain legal costs and to allow more flexibility in legal questions and matters for the Board of Trustees. What is evident this evening is through the adopted resolutions, including the hiring of the in-house counsel, the beach permit reforms, and implementing the storm mitigation measures to help the Southampton Police Department save their vehicles at police headquarters, is that each are practical and prudent measures to control expenses and liabilities which will directly and favorably benefit the village residents. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much, Trustee Zanati. I would like to actually introduce my new assistant, Barbara Sakovic. Would you mind coming up to the podium just so you could introduce yourself to the public so that everyone knows who you are? Because if members of the public, residents would like to reach out to the mayor and again, other trustees, you are the point of contact. You are the face now of the office here. So I want to make sure that they know who you are. Maybe you'd like to just introduce yourself briefly and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. My name is Barbara Sakovich. I came previously from the village of Port Jefferson. It is my pleasure to work for the mayor and the board. I can be emailed at mayorsassistant@southamptonvillage.org. And I'm here every day to assist.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Barbara.
It's
Welcome
my
aboard.
pleasure.
Welcome, Barbara.
And then I would like to just share a little bit about 2 Sundays ago when we had that torrential downpour late in the afternoon. I thought we had escaped the rain that day, but certainly we did not. And, I was notified that water was coming into the police headquarters from the back parking lot because really of poor design of that back parking lot. So I did go down there and witness myself the water flowing into the back entrance to the police station and going down into the lower level of the police station. With the help of DPW, they put some sand there to block that water, and then they brought in a huge truck that actually vacuumed up the water and disposed it elsewhere. But we did call in the fire department as backup if we needed them to help evacuate more of the water. But actually the DPW team did a great job of lowering the water. And again, we moved, or the police department moved their police vehicles so that, again, we did not have significant damage to any of the police vehicles. And we were able to save the fleet there, as it were. But I did want to just share with the public what Second Assistant Chief Rick Fowler sent out. Out of the 32 calls during the storm, they responded to 13 flooding conditions, and these were electrical hazards at residences. 12 vehicles were trapped in floods, many with occupants that had to be rescued and transported to safe shelter, including 2 dogs, 3 automatic alarms, including 1 at Southampton Hospital, 2 gas leaks, carbon monoxide emergencies, 1 barbecue grill fire with proximity to the house, and 1 traffic assist. A command post was set up and established at Hampton Road Firehouse to coordinate all the calls coming in at once. In addition to receiving calls via dispatch, we also were receiving calls for help directly to our firehouse, walk-ups at our firehouse, as well as being flagged down on the road while out on other calls. All 3 of our firehouses were staffed with members so we could cover our entire district, and we utilized 14 of our department vehicles to handle these calls. Rick concludes by saying, "We have an amazing department, and the volunteers that showed up deserve all the credit for executing such a successful operation." So I just want to add my gratitude to them for what they did that day in protecting the village.
Here, here.
Thank you very much. And I would just also like to say thank you to Andrew for all you've done as our village attorney, again, through very trying times. But you've made it much easier being here with us to help us, and I really appreciate all your efforts. And I've enjoyed working with you. You've been a great colleague and have certainly helped a lot. While we will miss you, we look forward to a smooth transition with our new in-house attorney, and I want to thank you very much for again, what you've done for the village. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, Mayor. Thank you. And from the start, when Mr. Zananti made the recommendation, as a member of the Budget and Finance Committee, I was hard pressed to disagree with him. And I'm happy to assist in the transition, and will continue to help the village however I can.
Excellent.
So, thank you.
And this is no reflection on your work.
Thank you.
Anyway, with that, I would like to close this portion of the meeting and go to executive session to discuss legal and personnel matters.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. The time now is 8:55. We are coming out of executive session where no action was taken. And I am now asking for, or making the motion that we close this meeting of the Board of Trustees at this time.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Good night.